Hi, good day, Joe here at Woolly Cottage. It's that time of the week again. So upload today for video topic is a new product that I've got on the website. Fibre packs. Now this is something that's been requested by people for ages, and I did make up a special selection of fibre packs when I did the Will Pop-Up show a couple of weeks ago. So they consist of 120 grams or thereabouts. Usually if it's not 120 grams it's just over, and they look like this. So they've got my little label on the top and inside. So this is a grey set. This is from the Heath. Now I did make the bats and they are on the website. Well, some of them are still left on the website, and these are the same fibres that I used in the art bats that I've got listed in the same names. So this one's Heath. Can you see all those greys? So this is a Shetland with bleached Trisha silk blend in there, and it's been hand dyed, and then I've collected all the fibres that I used for making the Heath bat and incorporated it into a kit. So in this one here you have got, it's Hearthstone, you have got warming glows of golden yellow and orange, hints of grey, natural Shetland, Twisted silk, hand dyed, blended with a bamboo, tweedy viscose, which is this fibre here. Okay, I've taken out the pack, but they're sellotaped in, so I don't want to take them out, but I am going to do a demonstration of one, so I'll show you what's in it in a second. Also on this one is a natural grey merino stellina blend with pineapple and tencel fibres and a grey corrodale. So that just gives you a rough outline, and there's a double set of grey corrodale in this because that was the predominant colour that I used in the blend itself. Then I have got Sweet Meadow pack, these gorgeous colours in there, and it's got Angelina, it's got tweedy viscose with a green blend merino, it's got bamboo, it's got pineapple fibre blend in there with merino, and the roving that's dyed is a merino with sea cell blend. And you see all those gorgeous colours, and it's really vivid. Lots of pops of colour for you to make your own bat or use the fibres on your blending board. This is the pack that I'll be doing and demonstrating today. So this is Lavendula, and there is actually a bat on the website still available called Lavendula, and it's all these purpley pinky colours that are in there. Okay, and in this one it's got stellina, bamboo. The merino, the roving is a merino with sea cell roving, blended roving again, and that's been hand dyed. And there's roughly anywhere between 50 to 60 grams of each of the roving blends, and it's a full length of a roving that I've dyed, and I've split it in half and weighed it out proportionately, and then just braided it into a thin roving. And it's really easy to blend them up from that as well, because you can just strip that back down into long pencil thin strips and then blend it. But I'll show you again in a minute how I do it. It's got stellina merino, faux cashmere, angora and mohair blend in there as well. A merino trilobal, mixed merino blend colours, and this vibrant purple that's in there as well. What other one I've got? I have got Glade, and this is more woodland sort of feel about it, and it's got hand-dyed merino sea cell blended roving in there again. It's got merino with silk in there, it's got bamboo, it's a superwash merino nylon blend in there, and a mix of dyed merinos all weighed out to make 120 grams. So you've got that woodland colour in there, and you've got the lichens, and there's forest green, hints of teal, and then purples. And then last but not least, this is Eve. I'm sure I've got a purple or darker purple one up there as well, but this one's Eve, and it has been used with slight little bits of neons mixed in with normal dyes, so it's in there. And it's got a bio nylon with stellina blend. It's got mulberry silk and bamboo in there. It's got Angelina, and it's got corrodale and merino as well. And again, this is a hand dyed felt in pack, hand dyed merino with sea cell blended braid, made to measure and all weighed out to approximately 120 grams. So what I'll do is I'll tilt you down so you can see when I open up the Lavendula pack. So bear with me a second. Okay, so in each pack comes to pop it open. The ingredients are stuck on the back of it, but there is a flyer in there if you want to take note and just write on the back the ingredients, just for your own memory if you want to. So you have got this gorgeous hand-dyed roving that comes in the pack, and then I have got this merino faux cashmere with angora, it's mohair in there, and it's got tencel in this one as well, and it's absolutely gorgeous, and it's really soft and lovely to spin up. It will spin up like a silk, but it's really nice used as a blended fibre. In that I've got this really vivid purple merino and some lilac or heather coloured bamboo, tiny little nugget of merino and trilobal, and then another little wound up nugget of different colours of merino blended together, and then another little bundle of merino. So we'll go over to the drum card, and I will drum card them all up on the blending board, but I'm also going to add in some of the colour roving, just so I can bulk this out a little bit, because once I've blended this up I will be doing part 2 of this video so that you can spin this into an art yarn. And let me just look for it, and then use, which is another pack that I've got going at the moment, which is an art yarn spin pack, and inside each of the art yarn spin packs is actually a little light. LED lights. Light's really rubbish because I've got the window curtain open, but it's an LED light, lots of different colours, and I'm going to knit that up into one giant swatch with art yarn as well. So I just want to bulk out the fibres that I've got here, and I'll be mixing it over there, and you can see what I do with this afterwards. If you'd like to do a blending board version of this, let me know. I'm quite happy to do it. I am waiting for chunky needles to turn up, because guess who can't find the chunky needles for making Rolags? This one can't. But if you wanted to buy the art pack fibre set, bear with me a second, I'll just go and grab one. So in the art fibre pack, it looks like this. You have 100 grams of a hand-dyed blended roving, really special ones as well. Then inside that, what I've done is I have got some complimentary BFL curls that go in there, because they're absolutely delightful to spin up. And these textured ribbons, can you see them in there? So this one's got oranges and greens and fawns in there as well. And really nice set kits. These are £26 on the website, but in that you get 30 grams of curls, hand-dyed curls that complement your blend, as well as approximately 8 meters of textured ribbons and yarns to do an art yarn, and you get your LED. I think it's about 2 meters long, these, but I will do the second part of this video as a spin up so you can see exactly what it is that I do to create a art yarn with wild lights in there. So let's go on over to the other side and we'll get the drum carder going. So I am going to spin up this one. I'm going to card up this one, and this is the Lavendula kit, which you've just seen me open up. Stick it to one side. They are on the website at the moment. I have got a couple of sets. I've got 2 of each of them. So there's some deep purple with the neon. There's a sweet pea. There's one of those left. There's one hearthstone left. There's obviously one Lavendula left. There is 2 Glade ones left as well. And if they do sell on the website, I will do them a bit more often. They're simple enough for me to put together when I'm blending up a art bat. And if you like the art bat that I've done, then there's nothing stopping you from buying the pack. It's a little bit less usually than what the art bat will be, but then at least that way you can have a go with yourself at making what I've made, which is the whole principle of the thing anyway. And what I hope to be able to do is do like a every other month or every quarter or something like that maybe. I haven't quite figured it out yet. And doing a blending club where I will put a picture on my website, and it will be for the specific one, and then do a video where you can blend along with me. But we'll do that. I'll talk about that another time and see what people think. Yeah, so that's what I've got intentions of doing. And it just helps you lot get on with what it is that you want to learn to do as well. And it doesn't necessarily mean that I'll be doing it on the card all the time. I might do it on the blending board. So this is my purple. It's quite a decent length of that. So that's going to obviously be quite a big moment in my blending. There's not a mass amount of the faux fibres, but there's more than enough for you to be able to get what you want from it, to add some sort of another dimension. Then you've got this, which is just going to be your highlight, and it's a really long pencil piece. And then what else have we got in here? We've got the bamboo. So again, just a highlight section. And then we have got the merino, multicolored merino. See there? It's all different colours. So that's a decent length one as well. And with this, I'm going to go with a gradient, because I've got quite decent lengths of the purple and the mixed purple. So there we go. So I think, while I'm now looking at this, I'll just tilt you down a little bit. I'm looking at these, I'm thinking, okay, so if I do the lilac, the mixed colour, and then I'll do the really vibrant one alongside each other as a gradient, okay? And then I have these as my highlights. And then on top of that, I have got the roving as well. So if I just split my roving into sections. Now this is where you can go and have a look in your stash to see what else you can add into that'll go along with these. Now I have got this other roving, okay? This one is from the Cala art bat set. I think I've just sold out of this on the website, but that's what that's from. It was a spare left over, and I wanted green because I like the little bit of green dashed through it. And this is going to go on my wall in my room. So I'm just going to get my roving that came in my pack, and I'm going to split it down the middle. Okay. Split that through. And because it's a mixed coloured, I can split that in half because it's quite a long length of it. So I'm going to split that in half. There we go. So I've got one little piece, plonk that to one side, another piece of pencil roving, and then this piece again, split it in half, all the way down. You have to excuse the pattern of feet. I've got the dogs in. Phil's just left for work, and I'm obviously on mother's duty. And there's my other piece. So I'm just going to plonk that to one side. And then I'm going to split this one up as well, the one that's got the green in. Because I just want to bulk out the wool that I've got. There's 120 grams of fibre here altogether. But if I add in this I'm sure was only about, I think about 30-40 grams. So I'm going to see if I can squidge this onto my blender board at the same time and use this as another base layer just to add another dimension. And once again, I'm going to split it down the middle all the way. So this is really just half of a dyed 100 gram dyed roving, and it's been split in half to create my packs. And then it means that I've got more than enough to split these again. There's nothing to say that you can't split these pencil bits apart for a second time, because it will work. There's enough density in the fibre to be able to split it another time again. So I'll just put that there and find the end of this one. Okay, so this is just your preparation. This is you just looking, and at the same time while you're splitting everything into sections and thinking about your layout and how you want it to go. So I've already decided that I want to do a gradient bat. So what I'm going to do is this length, I'm going to split it in half, okay? And I'm going to leave it in two sections like this. I'm going to put them to one side. Then I'm going to get my lilac, and I'm going to split that in half as well. I'll just move you up a little bit so you can see what it is that I'm doing. And then I've got this really deep vibrant purple, which is slightly clashing because it is so vivid, but I'm just going to split that in half altogether. And then I have my highlight sections. So what I'm going to do with these is split it in half and then split it again, and then end up with 4 pieces, because I've just split these rovings into 4 little bundles. So each time I layer these onto the board and then put my highlight layers on top, then I'm gonna use these for a bit of definition. And again, I'm gonna split this one in half because it's so long, and then split that in half. That's 2, and then this one, if it doesn't catch onto there, split that in half, and then in half, and then half again. And that's me done my prep. So now I'm wanting to get onto the blending stage. So what I have to do, and I'm going to tilt you down and I will just talk away while I'm doing this. So you want to get your rovings and you want to zhuzh them out a little bit, okay? Just open up those fibres because it will get stuck on this front liquor. You've seen me do it, and every time I say you've got to tease out the fibres, don't hold onto your fibres, they'll all stick to the front liquor, and then Jo does exactly the opposite of what it is that she's trying to avoid to do. So your whole prep, while your board is all sat there waiting for you to start blending it, just tease it open. It takes a few minutes. It doesn't take long to do it. Just do it while you're doing your prep, and think of it like cooking. You would chop all your vegetables up while your pot's going and your oil's heating up before you start throwing anything in the pot, wouldn't you? Well, it's the same with your blending fibres up, okay? You want to tease out your fibres, make sure that there's no felted parts, because even the best of us, no matter how many years we've been doing this for, whenever we do any dyeing, there's always going to be a section, especially some dyes, they don't like to dissolve completely. So you're just checking your wool at the same time, make sure there's no slightly felted areas, and if there is, you can tease them apart. But this wool's really, really soft. It's really been dyed very nicely and to a really good quality. And I wouldn't pass on something to you that I didn't think was good enough for me to use. Okay, so that's 1, 2, 3, and there's my 4th one of these. So I'm just gonna again just keep teasing this open, and at the same time, because it's got a fibre that's blended in there and it's not a wool, it gives this an opportunity for it to open. So if I come over and I show you inside there are sections where it's coagulated, is probably the best word to use. So what I'm doing is making sure that those fibres that can be a bit of a pain to spin because they like to crumple up together are all wide and split and opened up a little bit more than they were beforehand, stuck and trapped inside the wool fibres. So I'm opening these up, you see, at the same time. So to a point, you are slightly drafting, but you're making it easier for you to be able to work with it. Okay. So before I go any further, I'm just going to run this piece through one of these. See how much smoothly that goes in there. Okay, I'm going to roll that through and just gently tease it along. My drum card up. And then back on myself. And I could have saved some time. So this is what will happen, is you'll be stopping and starting when you really want to just get on with it and get these fibres opened up before you even get going. And it'll cut down your time, believe it or not, it'll just cut down on your time of blending because everything's already prepped and you can just get on with it. This is the bit that takes the longest, just like prepping a dinner. This is the piece that takes the longest. So this is the green one with the purples and the pinks on there. And I wanted to add this in as well. There we go. Now that looks really, really pretty. But I'm not going to add on my next layers yet. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use my highlight fibres. Okay, so I'm going to run that across there. But I'm not going to run them all the way across. I want most of this purple colour on this side. And then I'm going to add, if I can get a piece, a strip of my purple bamboo, heather purple bamboo. Try and grab that, I don't want to lose too much company, so I'm just painting on the back of my board. And then I'm going to get my foam and paint all the way across here as well. And then what I've done, I've started to create a colour sequence all the way through. Okay, so I'm going to repeat this again and get my same purpley piece and start from this side. 2, 1, 2. I'm just counting the turns on my drum so I can balance out the amount of fibre that's going on each section, so it ends up with an even amount. So I roughly count 2 turns per section as I'm coming along on my blending board, not on my blending board, on my card. So I'm just going to tease open this colour roving very quickly, just make sure the fibres are all opened up. And this is a silk in a merino, this one. It's got bleached tussar silk in a merino. Just open that up there and start from this side. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Right, now I'm going to add on my sections that I'm going to be creating the gradient with. So I'm going to start with a really pale one at the end, which is the mixed coloured merino, and I'm just going to ever so gently just guide that in there. I don't want to hold on to it, otherwise I may end up getting it stuck to the front of the liquor. And then get my lilac merino that's sat there waiting for me and put that in the centre. Just keep pulling that through. There we go. Then my really vibrant purple I'm going to put on this far end. There we go. So that's about it. So now I'm going to get my merino tri-local blend, and I'm just going to swish that over the top of the purple because that's the darkest bit and it's where I started it, and I'm going to come across here just the tiniest little bit just to help bring a bit of continuity all the way through the back. So I'm just going to pinch back a bit to the purple, come over and then finish off in the paler version. Get my faux fibre, start off on this end because it's going to traverse over into the next section like that. There we go. And then that's it. So I'm just going to, oh, do you know what? I will add some bright fuchsia Angelina into this. Now you can either paint it on or you can put it straight onto your liquor, and then you'll end up having to get your brush and carding that into place. Just give your back drum a quick whoosh down just to push the pressure of the fibres down into place, and then repeat. So again, my purples, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 2. Back to this greeny one, so I just need to open this up. A merino with a bleached tussar silk, which catches dyes. I wouldn't say in a solid matter, because it's been dyed in the roving, because there'll be places where the dye's not managed to saturate through to it, but it will catch dye colour, not a problem. So I'm going to start on this side You can see that going on now. There we are. So repeat how I did it at the beginning. So the dark purple on this side, just paint it onto the back of the drum. Come over to the middle a little bit and then traverse back over until it's all gone out my finger. Then I'm going to get a piece of my, have I got none left of that? Piece of my purple bamboo fibre, paint it in the middle and then just come over to this side a little bit more and then get my faux fibre and repeat the same sequence that I did on the first and second layers. That's that done. So next bit again, go back to getting my purple, blend that in, and because my drum card is now getting a bit thicker, my wool is starting to stick to the front of my liquor. It's not a massive problem, don't worry about it if that happens to you. You just want to go onto your drum carder and pack those fibres down with your brush. So I'll just get this. Pull up the fibre that's still stuck on my liquor at the front. Revolution. There we go. Now what I'm going to do for this last layer, so I've got these chunky pieces left. I've just put the purple one on. I'm saving the green one. I say green, it's green purple, but I'm referring to the green so you know what I'm on about. So I'm going to take that in half. I'm going to take the purple one in half. And the deep vibrant purple one, I'm going to split in half. Okay, so this is just going to be a little bit different than the first layer. So I'm going to get my colour drove in, stick that, pack that onto my carder, and then I'm going to get my solid purple or the lilac colour here. I'm going to put that in the middle as well. There we go. And then my vibrant purple, exactly the same method as I did originally to start with, but I just want to sort of separate these colours out a little bit more. And then I'm going to add, does that come off? There it is. Then I'm going to add this last piece, this last bundle of pencil roving that I split, and I'm going to put that on next and then repeat the layer with the last of the rovings on the top of this, so that when I open up this bat and fluff it all out, these pops of colour will pop through, was what my intentions are, so I can see it. And this is how I would display it for my website, so that people can see the colours that are coming through the bats. It's not for any specific, it's not going to change how your spinning looks dramatically. It's just sometimes you want to see the colours popping through. Going, so I come to the end of the roving, and I'm just going to pack this down one more time, because I would say that I am getting to the end of my limit on this blending board. Just going to pack these fibres down. Right, while I'm here, I'm going to get the last bit of my fuchsia Angelina, and I'm going to sprinkle that on there. Open up this multicoloured purple merino. There's all the Angelina coming through now, and then the lilac next. There we go. You can still see there's pops of green coming through, which is what I was looking for. And then the last of the vibrant purple. Then get my merino trilobal blend and come across the carder, and back again. Some of the bamboo, come back again, and the last of my faux fibre. Okay, clear up my liquor at the front whilst pressing down the fibres at the same time. The clumps down here, I just want to try and grab those and get them on. There we go. So I have a card on the back of my drum. I like to take that off, otherwise it just falls off and causes calamity everywhere. Okay. Now I've always taken my bats off my drum card like this. What I call it the troll and the roly-poly. So you grab the fibres at the very beginning, curl them in on themselves, and then roll it over your drum card or back box twice, and then it grabs all the fibres at the same time, and you end up with a clean drum. See, there's nothing there. Well, I say nothing. There's a tiny little smudge there, but it's generally really clean. So from that, move this out the way. That's an annoying position. Right, so from that to my bat, so I had 120 grams to start with, and then I added, I think, roughly about 40 grams that were left over pencil roving from a blend that I did the other day for an art fibre set. And then, so that's roughly about 160 grams. And then I added in some Angelina from my own stash. Look at that. Isn't that fantastic? It's got all those colours in there. Imagine what it's going to look like when you spin that up. So you've got a colour gradient going through your bat, as well as a consistent colour change that goes through your bat as well from the multicoloured rovings that you've got in there. So that will make the most stupendous fractal spin if that's the way you want it to go. Or a lovely subtle colour change all the way through on a singles yarn. I'm going to do an art yarn on mine, is what my intentions are. So I'm just going to waft it out a little bit, just gently pull it out. It makes it easier for drafting as well. Okay, there we are. So that's one ginormous art bat. There we go. Now, we know what colours I've used in this, but to look at that off, it doesn't show any of the colours at all. And that's what's deceptive about some of my art bats, is until you actually buy them, take them home and spin them up, on first glance, even when you buy them from me in person, until you go home and you see the depths of colours that are inside my blends. If I say there's a dash of mint in there, there generally is just a dash of mint. Just like there's a dash of mint on that green roving. There's not lots of it, but it will come out peppered throughout your yarn. So I'll just stick this in my light box and you can have a look. So there you go, that's what that looks like now. Now if I was to open this up, you're going to see those flecks of green in there. There's pinks in there, all sorts of colours, all been amalgamated into each other. That makes this for the most beautiful, stunning bat that you could possibly make at home on your own. It just needs a little bit of imagination, a little bit of thought, and a bit of process to decide what it is that you want to achieve from your bat. So there you go. So you've got from that felting pack, a blending pack, felting pack, whatever you want to use it from, but I've designed these so that you can blend at home on your own, to that. There you go, with a little bit of extra in there just so I could bulk it out a little bit, because I think I've got roughly about 2 meters of LED lights that I want to spin with this. Okay, now when it comes to actually preparing your bat afterwards, now I have done a video on this before, and I have seen on a couple of Facebook groups new people coming into the into spinning that don't know how to prep their bats. To be fair, I have got videos out there, but I don't like to brag. Oh, it's not bragging. I don't like to boost my own trumpet and say, oh, I've got videos on YouTube, and then somebody come along and say, oh, you're not doing that right. And you know what, at the end of the day, there's a lot of people out there that don't know how to prep bats for spinning, that are really just need that little boost of confidence. And this is how one of the ways that I prepare my bat for actually getting ready to spinning it out, okay? There isn't a right and wrong way to doing any blending, so the naysayers that are out there in the world, please stop it, because people like me have got a font of knowledge to pass on to people. And I do get times where people say, oh, well, you've not been doing this long enough and you wouldn't know what you're talking about. Well, do you know what? I do this for a living. So I do sort of know what I'm talking about, but I might not be guild trained. I'm self-trained. I've never had anybody to help me do any of this before. So what I have learned in my hints and tips over the years are there for me to share to you. There's a few of us out there in the world that like to share information, the things that we've bought. You guys never go able to blend how I blend. I'll never be able to blend how Nicole Frost does hers. Never be able to replicate exactly how she does it, but I can pick up hints and tips from how she does it. And that's how we learn. Nobody is going to do the exact same thing as everyone else. Some people just don't know how to put colours together, don't see how colours can complement each other. Some people, like me and others, have a natural tendency to be able to know what's going to go with what, and adding in colours that you would never ever ever expect to be in there. You're like, wow, that looks really really good. And that's what it's about, is experimenting. So please, if somebody's out there that's really struggling and wants to learn, just shout out, Jo knows this, she's got a video, or this is how I've seen somebody doing it. Anybody else turns around to you and says, no, that's not the right way, just ignore them, scroll on by and ignore them, because it's a load of rubbish, it's a load of tosh. So what I'm going to do is point you down, and there is my bat unravelled. Try and make myself some room on here. Now I do this elbow join stripping. Now you can strip your bats down into single sections. I would say do it as a good 1.5 to 2 inches wide, okay? So you can see over here, you can't quite see that, can you? On a sec, let me just get that. There we go. Okay, so I would say get your bat, unfold it out, give yourself plenty of space to work on. You can do it on your lap if you want to. I have been known to do it on my lap. And I'm literally just going to pull this. I have got, I would say, about 2 thumbs width, okay? 2 thumbs width, can you see that? And I'm pulling it all the way down to the bottom of my bat, okay? And I'm going to keep on going until I'm nearly at the bottom. Now I've got to this corner section, okay? From this corner section, I'm going to leave that like that and just plonk that to one side, that piece that I've just stripped up, and put it to one side while it's still connected. Now you've got this, what I call the elbow join, all right? So you can see this corner of this bat. I'm going to come back over here another 2 inches or 2 thumbs width all the way to the side, so I end up with this join, and I'll be able to show you a little bit better in a minute. So I'm just going to strip my bat in one long section all the way up until I get to, say, I've only got a little dinky hand, but about a hand's width from the top, okay? A hand's width from the top. Leave that in one piece. Come back over 2 thumbs width of my top and strip that all the way down to the bottom. Don't worry if your bat's not even when you're doing your stripping. It will even itself out eventually. You only do this so that you've got a rough idea of drafting out, preparing the fibre, putting it to one piece in a braid, and then leaving it until you're ready to deal with it, okay? And it stops your bat from getting pulled and tugged and felted and everything else where it's sat there in your basket, or a cat discovers it and wants to lie on it. There you go, from the bottom to the top there, another hand's width from that gap there to my hand here, okay? And I'm going to come over 2 thumbs width again, and I'm going to start from the bottom and pull, strip gently over until I get to the top again, just ever so gently. I mean, I've only got 100 something grams worth of fibre on here, so it is going to be thin in places. Again, another hand's width from the top, and then I'm going to pull that all the way down until I get to another hand's width from the bottom of my bat. And while you're doing this, because you've done it in colour blockings all the way through, well, you've done your gradient, you've done a gradient layering. What you're doing is you're keeping that gradient layering in place as well. It's not being jiggled or anything like that. You're keeping it. So here's one long roving, and there's my elbow join. Okay, can you see that? It is an elbow join, right? And then I've gone all along there, and there's my other elbow join. Can you see that there? Right, so that's what you're initially creating. You're creating yourself a roving, but from your bat. So I'm just going to pull that up a little bit more. So I'm just plonking that to one side, and then I've come down here to a hand's width at the bottom again, roughly about 2 thumbs width along, and strip it all the way back up to the top again until I get roughly a hand's width from the top. There we go. Come over 2 thumbs worth again from this side. I'm starting to lose my bat now. I've got a very excited dog who loves her dinner, and she's waiting for me to hurry up, waffling, so she can get fed. Okay, so from the bottom again, I'll just pull all these away over here so you can see the last of this, and then another 2 thumbs width across. Right, it's roughly about 2 inches, 2 and a bit inches, depending on how thin you want it and how compacted your art bat is. Another hand's width at the top, 2 thumbs width across there, and draft that all the way down. There we go. Another hand's width down the bottom with 2 months. So I'm going to end up with another 2 strips out of this in a second. Pull that all the way up here. Oops, caught that in my finger then. All the way up to the top till I get a hand's width and come across, and this is my last strip in now. All the way along, down at the bottom, and there, hand's width from the bottom and a tear in. That's it. Can you see all my transition of colours now? Let me just move this net out of the way. So now I'm just going to gently draft, and I'll show you what to do when you get to your elbow join. Just ever so gently. Don't want to overdo it too much, but what you're doing is you're preparing your bat so that when you go to spin it later on, when you're sat in front of the TV and you're all ready and chilled out for the day, is your roving's ready for you. Your bat's ready to be spun. So you see all those transitional layers all the way through there. That's the side-on view of that art bat that I've just blended. So I'll be down at the elbow join in a second. So now I get to the elbow join, what I want to do is grab that in my hand, okay? And what it'll do, it will pull all the fibres together. And just be really careful when you get to the elbow join, because it may tear. It is the weakest spot, but it's all there, okay? So I'm just going to keep doing this all the way along. And keep going. Got to another elbow join, so I'm just keeping a grip of that because it's the weakest spot, then moving my hand over to the side of that elbow join, and I'll do that ever so slowly so you can see it's going to start changing from this vibrant purple to the lighter shade in a second. So I'm coming to another elbow join in a second. Right, so there's my elbow join. Can you see that? I'm just going to get a hold of that, and I'm just going to ever so gently tease this section now. There, that's all I'm going to do, and pull that along. And this is my elbow joint, so I'm stretching it out. And then you're off up to your next elbow section. So you've got, this is the elbow that I'm on about. So can you see that? You have got that bit that's a hand's breadth from the top of the roving, your strip piece, and then your second strip piece, and that's when it's together it would look like that, but now it's like that. It's a really simple process to do, very easy, and especially great when you've got a gradient art bat that you want to keep the colours in the same continuity all the way through. Just keep going. Oh, I'm down to an elbow join now, so I just have to be a little bit careful. Nearly at my next elbow joint. There we go. Just grab that there. Move across a bit. Move across a little. And there we have it. Okay. Mass pile of wool now. Just keep going. Down to another elbow. Just make sure that bundles all in my hand. You draft it out and it just catches onto each other. And when you're spinning it, just let the fibres follow through. There shouldn't be any complications, but I will show you when I do the second part of this video for my art yarn. The Angelina popping out now, and you've got that purpley lilac colour that I'm in the section of now. So that's the middle of the bat that I'm at now, and I'm just about to transition through to the lighter section because the bamboo's starting to disappear, and I'm starting to now see the faux fibres pop into view when I'm blending, stretching this out, drafting it out. There we go, nearly at the end. Grabbing hold of this elbow join, let it transition through to that without splitting it. There we go. I think I'm on the last, no, second to last elbow section. You're like, Joe, this is taking forever. I know, but I just want to let you know that there are easy ways. It's not a massive time spender. It's literally just taking me 7 minutes to do 150 gram large jumbo bat, stretch it out, strip it into zigzags, catch your elbows as you're drafting it, make sure it doesn't split on you as you're doing it, and then that's it. There we go, at the end. And now that I'm at the end of this, just thin out these chunky pieces, I am going to braid it, and you will see the colour gradient as I braid this up now, and this will just help put my fibres to one side until I'm ready to deal with it next week for doing the art yarn video with the LED lights. Okay, just keep going through. So if you like this video, I really would appreciate it if you hit the like button at the bottom. It just helps other people find me on the YouTube platform. I don't get paid for doing the videos that I do. I am using my own stock from my website that I take off to do these videos, so I'm not earning anything. This art yarn, once it's done, will be made into a knitted swatch, and I'm going to be using it as a display on my wall, so that anybody else wants to mention creating something with LED lights or whatever, then I've always got it to reference to in the future. And I think with the dark nights coming in now as well, it'll look really nice on my tops of my purple wall, just to give it a bit of pizzazz. So there we go, see the transition of that now, and it's just starting to get this purple just starting to come through. The vibrant purple section is about to come through, all these different tones and colours. There's an elbow section, just being careful with that when I'm pulling it through on the braid. It just makes life so much easier to spend a few minutes doing your prep. Then you can go off, get your dinner on the go, pop off to work or wherever it is that you're going, or doing, or kids have grabbed you and need you to go off and do something. You're like, right, that's done, I'll deal with it later. So I know what it's like. I was a single mum, 3 kids, 2 jobs. You don't really get much time to yourself, and when you do, it's very precious. So just having the joy of seeing all the colours coming through with this, once you've blended it together yourself, you can then visualise how it's going to spin up at the same time. Right, so there we go. 1 braided 150 gram art bat, so you can see the purple, and then it goes through, graduates into the lilac, and then from the lilac with the pops of Angelina into the really pale version of the bat, all in one gigantic roving. Voila, that's it. So there you go, there's the lighter section all the way through the mid to the darker. Easy peasy, jump and squeezy, there's not much to it. So if you enjoyed that video, please do hit that like and subscribe down below. Thumbs up, perfect, I would really appreciate that. If you're looking for more videos like this, leave comments below if you find this useful. Please let me know. I answer everybody's comments, and don't forget the felting, I don't know why I keep saying felting packs. Your card your own art bats or Rolex for your blending board are £16 on the website at this current time as a special offer. They may increase a little bit later on in the year. My suppliers are increasing their prices, so I have to start reflecting that. But they're lovely. They're at least 50% hand dyed fibres that are in there, and you will really enjoy them, and they're brilliant for stash building. So see you next week. Take care of yourselves. Don't forget that Tuesday night, 7:15, I'll be here for a bit of a natter while I'm sewing up a load of pod bags for the website for listing for next week. So if you can't make it tonight, I will see you hopefully next week. If not, see you Saturday on Instagram for a live chat about noon. Take care of yourselves. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye.